Hello, my name is Emma. Thank you so much, Liana, for inviting me to talk on the Artist Viral Network. I did use it a lot during lockdown for book recommendations, so it's good to be on here. The book I've chosen to talk about is The Faraway Nearby by Rebecca Solnit that I finished recently. It was actually the first of her books I've read and I really enjoyed it, so I thought I'd talk a bit about it and also how it related to my current studio practice and shows a few clips I've been working alongside. The book begins by Rebecca receiving 3 surprise boxes of apricots from her mother's tree the summer before her mother passes away. It feels like a part memoir, part rambling walk through her life, where she talks about various things that have happened to her alongside her relationship with others and, most importantly, probably her mother. We're taken on the journey of her mother's Alzheimer's and how that affects both her mother and Rebecca and the rest of the family. And we see the parent-child role reversal that can happen. Rebecca describes her mother as a book coming apart. The act of storytelling is at the heart of the book and the role of the writer and the book itself, as she uses fairy tales such as Snow White and people such as Mary Shelley and Che Guevara to really reflect on things that have happened to her and how we often use stories that we know to define ourselves, whether they fit or not. She talks about how we often use the present to actually rearrange our past, to retell our own story, which can be both a good thing and a bad thing. I turn to stories a lot in my own work for inspiration, so it was really interesting to read about stories dissected in this way and how we all use them in our day-to-day life, sometimes without even realising. I really loved how she described how we define ourselves, where she describes us as being porous, loose threads, strange dreams, forgettings and misrememberings, and all these things are actually just as important as things we really use to define ourselves. I particularly really like this quote where she mentions the book's title. Georgia O'Keeffe moved to rural New Mexico, from which she would sign her letters to the people she loved from the faraway nearby. It was a way to measure physical and psychic geography together. Emotion has its geography, affection is what is nearby, within the boundaries of the self. You can be 1,000 miles from the person lying next to you in bed, or deeply invested in the survival of a stranger on the other side of the world. The work on show here is part of my current research into Irish migration to northwest London, which is my own background. This is at my studio in Wembley Park. It's been really interesting and eye-opening hearing the stories of so many and the feeling of belonging and also really longing for a place that doesn't really exist anymore. She describes the brain as a landscape, like a neuron forest, which I really liked and reminded me of the current threads in my own work of drawing trees and branches and how eventually parts will go blank and bits will fall off. I'm going to end with a quote I liked. Writing is saying to no one and to everyone the things it is not possible to say to someone.